Welcome to part 4 of Calm and Clarity Amidst Chaos. And I want to thank you for tuning in, not only to help yourself, but to be of better service to those around you. As I mentioned in the previous videos, we as human beings don't know what each other's gone through unless you're part of the family. And we know that hurt people can hurt people. And again, if we've been through some type of trauma, whether it's attachment trauma as a child or later on in life, PTSD, amidst especially what's going on now, our systems are semi on high alert. And if we're already upset, then it's kind of like we have to be aware of being a match, a lit match around gasoline, because systems are easily set off again. I hope that makes sense, and I'm pretty sure it does. What we want to do is remember to constantly be aware of the breath. Now, in Latin, Greek, spirit means breath. The whole understanding of spirituality, we can forget all this other stuff out here. Can we breathe into difficulty? This is something they taught me over in China. They taught me this in Japan, pretty much the same thing. They don't get all upset and go, and all that stuff. The real masters of the martial arts always sink down, and then they look. And then they look not only to where people think, where they can take you apart at. No, that's not it. What they do is they look for what's happening within you so they can help you de-escalate. The last thing they want to do is fight, and the last thing we, especially with people we care about, should want to do is fight or argue. So when we can de-escalate a situation, when we can bring ourselves back to the point where our vagus nerve, where we're exhaling, capable of responding, when we're able to relabel, reframe the situation, reassess it, and refocus, rather than react, repeat what we always do, retaliate and retreat, let's say, to run away from the situation, and I'm not saying don't walk away from the situation, but just bail without saying, hey, this is what's happening for me. The best thing we can do for ourselves and those we care about, our neighbor, a person on the street, make sure we're covered up and during this, of course. But there's going to be other times where we may not get along with somebody, we can sense something's happening. Remaining calm means being able to take a breath, keep yourself in a place where you can respond, and do some study. Learn about wise things to say and wise things to do. A great book to help us understand a few things. Of course, you can read the Bible, you can read the Tao Te Ching, you can read the Quran. There's wisdom in psychotherapy books, there's psychology, there's philosophy. But one book that I recommend reading, it is a thick book, it's quite a read, is Behave by Robert Sapolsky. He's at Stanford, and what he says in his book that's really important to help you understand is we don't know what somebody's been through 5 years before, 5 days before, or 5 minutes before that's going to cause them to not be able to respond, that's going to put them, and again I talk about the trauma. Somebody could have not slept. If you don't sleep, if you don't eat, and I'm not saying you need a Snickers, your system is less capable of responding. The understanding of willpower, if we would call it that, or what we call the ego capacity, our system loses capacity. It is at a diminishing supply. when we haven't slept well, when we haven't eaten, when we've just been through something, maybe we've had a stressful encounter, our system is much more susceptible to arguments, to losing it. That's when we find ourselves acting up, acting out, lashing out, or shutting down. We may give up or give in. And when I say give up, we may be doing something that's important to us, doing something for someone that's important to us. We give up because we feel a momentary stressor, distress, if you will. We may give in and say, hey, I'm going to have that drink, or hey, I'm just going to have this cake. Our system is under duress. And the thing to understand is, and I talk about this often, especially with eating, no one reaches for salad or broccoli when they're having a stressful moment. People reach for, ready for this, comfort food or Southern comfort or the like, or a pill or something. And that's already because people are usually predisposed because of, as I mentioned, a trauma beforehand. And we may not have universal health care, but we need universal mental health care. We need to be able to reach out and not have it be a stigma for someone to say, hey, I'm not feeling right about what I'm thinking. It's okay to get help. It's okay. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And we got to make it okay for people to go get help. Because if somebody feels better about getting help, maybe Columbine, maybe Las Vegas, maybe Sandy Hook, maybe Texas, maybe none of these things happen. Maybe people are okay to go to the doctors or to the psychologist, the psychiatrist, to get the help before that hurt person, or before you, as a hurt person, hurts yourself or hurts someone you love and care about. Thank you for listening.